Hello, everyone. My name is Todd Callen from the Niagara Sports Network, and we appreciate you joining us today as we continue to take a deep dive into the 2022 Women's Swimming and Diving MAAC Championship team. We're very pleased now to be joined by the Director of Athletics here at Niagara University, and that is Simon Gray. Simon, thanks so much for stopping by.
Todd, my pleasure.
Simon, let's talk a little bit about the excitement that the women's swimming and diving team has brought with the championships, that they won first time, that they've captured the title. Talk a little bit about the excitement around campus.
So the MAAC Swimming and Diving Championships is just an exciting event in general, and have enjoyed going to that every year, but never so much as this year when the Purple Eagles came out on top. And so, it's been some time since we have won a conference championship at Niagara University, and for Coach Bugbee, his staff, and our student athletes, they're just incredibly deserving of having the first title in 10 years. They set so many program records. The camaraderie was terrific all throughout the year. It hasn't been an easy couple years around COVID and the pandemic, and getting to train and all those sort of things to prepare for the championship was hard. And so to be able to come out with such a wonderful celebration based on their hard work was gratifying for everyone.
And Simon, you hit on a lot of great points there. And one of the first things I wanted to ask you about was Coach Eric Bugbee in his second full season this year. And he picks up Coach of the Year honors, tremendously deserved. And I think there are times when if a team is picked to win a championship and that coach gets it, and that's still impressive, but not a surprise. Just a truly amazing accomplishment for Coach Bugbee. Picked 7th in the preseason poll. Talk about what you saw from your vantage point and just how important he was to the success of this team.
Yeah, and so it's interesting, in talking to Coach after the championship, he said we won this with depth. There was a lot of tremendous individual standout efforts, no doubt, throughout the week, but the depth of the team is what brought them the title. And what more can you attribute depth to than the coaching staff, right? That's recruiting. That's getting the right people in the right events to be able to score at the championship meet. It includes diving as well as swimming. They all came together for the championship. So not only has Eric done a very nice job with his staff of building the depth within our programs, but also making sure that they're leaders on campus and they're tremendous people in our department. So our Student Athlete Advisory Committee president this year is Zoe Gavin from the women's team. And so she's taken a leadership role throughout our program. So it's just bigger than what's going on in the natatorium in the Kiernan Center, right? It's what's happening for this entire campus. And their championship certainly gave a lift to the entire university.
You mentioned how difficult it is to win a championship, let alone in a COVID era.
Right.
So just want to dig a little bit deeper on that. Talk about how proud you are of the team and the commitment to deal with all of the new protocols and everything, but still find a way to touch the wall first and win the title.
So at the end of the year last year, we gave the Believe NU Award to all of our student athletes who had persevered through a year unlike any other. And we had the hopes that coming into this year, it would be more of a normal year. And in a sense, it has been. Some of the operations around collegiate athletics has returned to pre-pandemic times, but there's always the hint of COVID there, right? Or the fear of testing positive or not being able to train. And so the primary example that this team overcame this year was their training trip to Florida, which was scheduled for January. So they were going to go home for the holiday break, then come back, train a few days on campus, and then go to Florida. Some people were going to go directly to Florida depending on where they were for the holiday break, but they weren't able to go. That was right as the variant was exploding all over the country, and we just determined as a staff, including the coaching staff, that we didn't want to put our student athletes in any risk, in any added risk, because the championship was just a month away, right, in the middle of February. So to lose additional time based on risk around travel, being in a different state, was just not the best move for us. So because of safety decisions, they decided to stay here. So there was a disruption that was unanticipated, but ended up being, ideally it played out well from a safety protocol, and they were able to train on campus in the best way possible.
And they pick up the MAAC championship. Talk a little bit about maybe some things that are organized or things you're going to do on campus to, we won't be able to replicate all the excitement from the Flickinger Center, but as you honor the team here on campus, what are some things that you have lined up?
Yeah, so it's interesting. The first things you think about are rings, right? Everybody wants a championship ring. So we're in the process of the design of those rings and getting the rings for the athletes and the coaches. They take some time, though. They take time to get designed and produced. So we won't be able probably to deliver those until next fall. The second thing everyone thinks about is the banner, right? When will the banner be here? Well, we're in production with the banner, and it may be up this semester, but we'll plan to unveil that in the fall as well. Okay, well, those are great, but those are far off, right? We want to capture this momentum and this energy right now. So we're doing a few things. We're going to honor the gold medal winners from the event at a hockey game on campus. So they'll have a chance to be recognized in front of that crowd. On March 3rd, with our basketball game, we'll be bringing the entire team out to have them recognized at a halftime so that they can all be cheered on by the crowd. We're also working on getting the team recognized at a Sabres game in the coming weeks, and so that will be really exciting, and hopefully they'll get recognition on the video board. I have a great partnership between the university and the Sabres and Pagula Sports and Entertainment, so really appreciate them being willing to help us recognize this team with something a little bit unique. So that's what we were thinking. You have the rings and you have the banner, but what are the unique things that you can do, right? You can recognize them at other games on campus, but what are some of the other things? So we're going to take them out to a nice dinner and that sort of thing as well. So really looking forward to find many different ways to recognize this team.
Certainly will be a well-deserved recognition. Simon, one of the things I know you're particularly proud of here at Niagara University Athletics is how the teams and the student athletes will support one another.
Right.
And there was a common refrain, no doubt. You saw it firsthand, how the men's team, vocal support, doing everything they can to help urge the women's team to that title.
Right.
Talk a little bit about how important that is and how gratifying it is from your perspective to see that.
I think there's been tremendous camaraderie between the two teams throughout the year. It was building, up to the championship, but to see everyone on the pool deck was really, really special, because where our area was, where our team designated area was down actually at the other end of the pool. So where the finish line and the start lines were removed from where our team was set up during the most of the meet, where they kept their belongings and such. So they had to actually migrate down to an area where they could be closer to the action. And so it was really neat to have both teams, the men and the women, coalesce together. But I'll tell you what was actually unanticipated by myself, but was really fun, was that there were other programs that allowed them to stand in front of them and were cheering with Niagara. So there were other MAAC programs that not only seeded some of their area so that our team could be close to the touchline or the finish line, but also were cheering for Niagara. So it was beyond, although it was really special to see our two teams come together, it went beyond that to other programs within the conference even supporting the Purple Eagles.
Great story, really exciting. Thanks so much for sharing that and kind of bringing us to the finish line along with you. One of the things I want to talk about is as you think forward and moving forward, they've got the foundation now of this MAAC championship, and
Right.
how can that pave the road for sustainable success within the pool?
Right, so that's one thing we always talk about. Let's capitalize on success. Let's capitalize on momentum. So we've been doing upgrades within the pool over the last couple of years. Some you can see, some you can't see. Some are structural, some are aesthetic. So those will continue. We moved the starting blocks, got brand new starting blocks within the past year and a half. So there have been improvements made that I think have helped. Obviously, having a championship trophy and having rings around will help in recruiting. So I think all of that will continue, and it's really neat in the swimming and diving area, because it's not just the women's team that's going to benefit. The men's team is going to benefit from this momentum as well, not just in the facility, but also in the field around the programs, and the championship nature that this coaching staff and the culture that they've put in place, I think will only continue to grow.
Last thing for you, Simon, the women's team broke 9 school records this season. They smashed a MAAC record in the championships. Years from now, when these swimmers have exited Niagara University, what kind of a legacy do you think they are leaving?
I think they're leaving a tremendous legacy, not only for swimming and diving, but in our department. So it's one of the things that we've talked about consistently since day one, was let's get this feel out in the department, right? We understand what it takes to win a championship. Coach Bugbee said many of our other coaches reached out to him after the title to congratulate him and say, hey, we want to be next. And we want our athletes to feel like your athletes did, because Todd, several of us have said this. The look on the faces of those student athletes as they won the championship is the reason we're in this business. That is absolutely why We work day in and day out so that they can experience that. So we want to take that to all 350 student athletes. So that's the legacy. It's not just what they've done for swimming and diving, it's what they've done for Niagara Athletics.
Tremendous story. Great enthusiasm, Simon, behind the program. We thank you so much for your time today and the insight. It sounds like it was a great spot to be at the Flickinger Center to capture that championship. And thanks again so much for bringing us right there.
All right, Todd, thank you.
Folks, that'll do it for our dive into the 2022 Women's Swimming and Diving MAAC Championship team. My name is Todd Callen from the Niagara Sports Network, reminding you to keep it locked in at purpleeagles.com for all the news, highlights, and information you need to follow Niagara University athletics. Have a great day, everyone.